What's good, y'all? It's Electron here, back with another video. Today I'm going to be debunking every single point on Surfbone's new video, aka the unconscious girl rapist. And I'm mostly doing this because he's been spreading a whole lot of false information regarding the Dragon Ball verse.
So wait, hold on, Surfbone. You're telling me that the infamous World of Void that we
Well, I can't take this nigga seriously. This gay ass, zesty ass OC character, bro.
all have been labeling as the infinite void of nothingness for years is not actually infinite? Well, yes, and this
Asserting a conclusion without evidence or premises to a statement to make it appear certain is called alleged certainty. That's just what he's doing here. Already being misleading.
really been known for a couple of years now.
And alleged certainty, don't give a fuck.
Let's talk about it. Before we get into anything, I feel like there needs to be many clarifications that should be made before
Bro, I'm just skipping this part, bro. I don't give a shit.
this arc and the feats that occur within it. So this is not my attempt to downplay Goku for the sake of it, as some have come to think that
Stop the cap.
the exact raw translation, which comes from Dragon Ball Super episode 78, for those who wish to go look at it for yourself. But essentially, both made the point in how the kanji representing infinity or Mugen is not at all present within the raws for when someone just wrote down what was said. And this can also be heard within the original Japanese dub, as instead is the word eternity or Eian is used.
Okay, so this absolutely does not change anything. Let me explain why. Aeon or eternity can still convey something to be infinite or endless. They are synonymous. It wouldn't mean and can't mean endless time in that sentence because it would be logically impossible and self-contradictory to assert that. So that absolutely wouldn't be the case. Therefore, it's logically necessary that in this context, eternity would be something infinite, or they're trying to convey something infinite. And what directly confirms this is that Toei Animation literally did the subtitles, all the English subtitles for Dragon Ball Super after the Goku Black arc, which means this translation would still be reliable and can be used. So it'll just be them conveying something infinite.
Well, hold on. Aren't the words eternity and infinity similar words anyway? Well, yes, they are synonymous for something that is unending. Keyword here being synonymous.
Right, a word or expression that serves as a substitute for another, a word or expression that entails the same significance as another.
Actually take a look at how they're both defined in English and in Japanese, as infinity or Mugen is often seen as something that has no limits, and the common uses of it relate to something with volume.
This is literally an appeal to tradition, as he's implying his thesis is correct because it's commonly used. It's not deductively valid using.
That has no limits. As opposed to eternity, it is related to something that has no end in reference to time.
Yeah, and the problem with that is that it'll be logically impossible within that context to assert it has any correlation to time, and which they're trying to convey to the readers. And you already agreed eternity and infinite is already synonymous and can't be used interchangeably because of that. So therefore, your argumentation is invalid in any way whatsoever, and what I already provided literally debunks his entire argumentation via the preponderance of evidence. So no realm would logically necessarily be infinite. And since after this he literally just repeats the same thing, I'm just gonna debunk it live with some of my friends. Alright, there we go, let's go.
Implicit that something is infinite in size if it takes that long to travel across to get to it. However, that doesn't seem to be implied by the text and only states that the world of void is full of eternity and emptiness, with the emphasis put on that there's...
What'd you say?
What's the first thing he said?
What's the first thing he said?
Yeah. Like, go back to the beginning.
Oh yeah, I'll go back.
that something is infinite in size if it takes that long to travel across to get to it. However, that doesn't seem to be implied by the text and only states that the world of void is full of eternity and emptiness, with the emphasis put on that there's nothing there and you may fight to your heart's content while within it, which is far more of a...
Okay, hold on. Okay, so hold on, because when he said that, he's equivocating this sentence, the lower sentence, to the top one, which is a false equivocation. But anyways, and is irrelevant to the scan in question. So anyways, what he's arguing cannot be the case because it's something without time and space. He's saying that it only has correlation. Eternity has only has correlation to infinite time, right?
But yeah, that would be logical. He's saying it's eternity in this context isn't referring to something that is infinite, rather something that is endless in context to time. Rather, his own scan literally defeats his own argument because he's saying that it consists of neither. So eternity is referring to something that is basically unchanging, either due to the realm or due to its conceptual nature, as it's stated in the guidebooks, to not have space and time on a conceptual level. Although he wants to deny this, he wants to say that it does have time, which is literally going against the statement that it doesn't, which is the same sentence in which he's trying to assert that it's true.
Right, and not only that, it's logically necessary that eternity in this context of what he's arguing would not mean infinite time. They're trying to convey something infinite or endless or unbounded, because you cannot have no time and endless time at the end of this time.
Yeah,
you can't have no time and time at the same time.
It wouldn't really even matter because, like, in the guidebook, it stated that it has no concept of time and space, and we know Toriyama considers the guidebooks more credible than himself, which would entail that the guidebooks would hold more credibility than the anime even itself. So that would already contradict.
Actually, having abstract like infinity is the only thing that it could be referring to, because it's saying it's not referring to infinite in context to volume, and it's not saying it's infinite in context to time. Eternity literally means that it will be unchanging due to its conceptual nature. That's the only thing it could be referring to. I think Sirbone knows this. I think he knows this, and I think he's just going in denial right now, because that's the only thing it could mean. He's praying that nobody looks at the first half of his sentence.
He's saying eternity only means he's saying it's not infinite. He's saying it's not infinite at all.
Yeah, he's saying that it's not infinite, and he would be half right, because what he's trying to assert is that eternal is in context to something that is temporal, even though no temporality at all is stated to be there.
Yeah, it's logically impossible to assert within this context.
The only option we have is that it's eternal because of its conceptual nature and unchanging nature.
Oh, well, actually, no time is just referring to how I feel in prison after raping an unconscious girl.
Serpent. And crazy because time, right? Eternal can also mean something timeless, like literally verbatim means something. It can mean something timeless.
Yeah.
Timeless existence, timelessness, right? And by proxy,
with no time at all.
And by proxy, since the null realm is already implied to be outside of all the universes, which are already infinite, it would have to be infinite. So it is unchanging, eternal, outside the notions of time and space,
and exists beyond already conceptual infinities.
Yeah, so it's infinite by proxy.
Thing is infinite in size if it takes that long to travel across to get to it. However, that doesn't seem to be implied by the text, and only states that the world of void is full of eternity and emptiness, with the emphasis put on that there's nothing there, and you may fight to your heart's content while within it, which is far more of a vague description than what we originally thought the translation was, as infinite nothing.
Alright, here's the problem with this, guys. Here is the problem with this. You can actually also use this translation as well, right?
It's a world without time or space filled with infinite nothingness. You can literally derive the same conclusion from this statement. If it has time and space, it's referring to something infinite, then it would refer to something having an abstract infinity, just like eternity. If you have something that has no time, but is stated to be something that can refer to something meaning timelessness or having time, it wouldn't be the time part because it has no time.
Right, so it wouldn't be endless time like he was trying to assert that it would not be endless time. It would be logically necessary that eternity in this context would mean something timeless and infinite.
Or just unchanging in general due to the nature of its abstractivity.
And also, I said this earlier in the video, but Toei Animation, you guys, actually did these subtitles, right? So they did. Yeah, they actually made these subtitles, meaning these subtitles right here is reliable, and they would just be trying to convey something infinite.
And we know that they're conveying something that's not related to time or space because literally in the first half of the sentence they say that they aren't. So it's really disingenuous to assert that it has time or space when they're obviously trying to assert that it doesn't, but rather infinite or eternal would mean something else.
Right, so that's why we would have the logical truth value. His argument wouldn't be deductively valid at all.
Yeah, I was about to say that the truth value it's not even necessary for us to have a truth value because he automatically just has none because he asserts something that's self-contradictory.
Exactly.
Infinite nothingness suggests size as opposed to eternity and emptiness, which seems to suggest something that's eternally empty and eternally in darkness. And the only way to suggest
eternally empty
empty. What?
Eternally empty and okay. So this is conflicting conditions here. Okay, eternally empty, right? He said it suggests something eternally empty. Something eternally empty, with the context already derived, would logically have to be infinite, infinitely empty. It would have to.
Wait a minute. He just conceded. Wait. He's saying something is eternally empty, so he's saying that eternity is referring to its volume. He literally just contradicted himself.
Yeah, he already contradicted himself, and by proxy, he already agreed that it's just it's endless, right? Because
I was thinking about it, I was like, wait, eternally empty. Why is he referring to the volume now? Didn't he just say that eternity was in context to time?
Yeah, so he's empirically demonstrating that these can be used interchangeably, and something eternal can mean something infinite in volume. So
or
thank you,
something without time, or something without time in general, as it's stated in the preface of the sentence.
Yeah, exactly. He's saying that it doesn't mean infinite, right? Like that's his whole premise. It's not infinite, but he just
guys, there's also another contradiction within his argument, bro. Like, if he's gonna argue eternally empty, it would just be contradicted by the fact that the world of void stage exists in there, which means it wasn't eternally empty. So then it would be referring to the volume instead, since eternal and infinite are interchangeable. So his argument would just entail a contradiction that gives us the truth value.
Yeah, and which means eternally in that context would have to mean something infinite. Otherwise, what he's arguing would literally be a reductio ad absurdum, which is literally a contradiction.
Exactly. It literally can't be eternally empty since it wasn't eternally empty. Something existed there. The stage literally existed there, so how was it empty? So he's literally arguing that it's in context of volume. So if it's in context of volume, and eternal can also mean infinite as a simile, then he would be referring to it as infinitely empty. So he would be proving our point.
Yeah, he would just be conflicting his premise. Like, this guy's an idiot, bro. His whole premise is that it's not infinite, but here he is conceding that it's infinite, and these terms can be used interchangeably.
Yeah.
How we previously just translated it as infinite, or to act like that.
Yeah. Okay, so send me all that.
Yeah, I got you.